Amidst the rolling hills and somber forests of a small, forgotten village in Eastern Europe, a sinister tale unfolds, a tale of darkness, despair, and a girl trapped between the gravestones of World War II soldiers. This is a story that transcends time, a haunting journey into the heart of a long-buried secret. Part 1: The Forgotten Village. The village of Pogradova had been shrouded in mystery for generations. Hidden away from the modern world, it clung to its past, its cobblestone streets echoing with the whispers of ghosts. Time seemed to have frozen here, and the air was thick with an unspoken sorrow. Amelia, a young girl of 15, arrived in Pogradova one autumn evening with her parents. They had come in search of their roots, tracing their family's lineage back to this remote village. Amelia, with her fiery red hair and a heart filled with curiosity, was eager to explore the place her ancestors had called home. As they walked through the village, Amelia felt an eerie presence, as though the very ground beneath her feet held the weight of untold stories. The houses were weathered, their windows dark, and the townspeople avoided their gaze, their faces etched with sorrow. The village cemetery, perched on a hill overlooking Pogradova, called out to Amelia with a strange allure. Rows upon rows of gravestones, weathered by time and neglect, bore the names of soldiers who had fought and perished in World War II. It was a solemn place, haunted by the memories of the fallen. Part 2: The Strange Dreams. As the days turned into weeks, Amelia began to have vivid dreams. In her sleep, she found herself standing amidst the gravestones, the moon casting an eerie glow on the silent cemetery. Shadows danced between the markers, and an overwhelming sense of grief filled the air. In her dreams, Amelia would often hear the faint sound of a woman weeping, her mournful cries echoing through the night. It was a sound that chilled her to her very core, and each night, it seemed to draw her closer to the cemetery. Unable to ignore the pull of the dreams, Amelia ventured into the cemetery one moonlit night, guided by an unseen force. The gravestones loomed like silent sentinels, their inscriptions a testament to the lives lost in a war that had scarred the world. And then, she saw her, a young woman dressed in tattered clothing, her eyes filled with sorrow. She knelt before a particular gravestone, her tears falling onto the weathered stone. It bore the name of a soldier, Ivan Petrov, who had died in 1943. Amelia approached the weeping woman cautiously, her heart filled with empathy. She reached out to touch her shoulder, but her hand passed through the woman's form like smoke. The woman's mournful gaze met Amelia's, and in that moment, the dreams shattered, leaving her breathless and confused. Part 3: The Haunting Presence. Amelia couldn't shake the encounter from her mind. The weeping woman had felt so real, her grief palpable. She began to research the history of the village, delving into its archives and speaking to the elderly townsfolk who still remembered the war. What she discovered was a tale of tragedy that had remained hidden for decades. During World War II, Pogradova had been occupied by enemy forces, and its young men had been drafted into the army, including Ivan Petrov. The village had suffered, its people living in constant fear, and many lives had been lost. The weeping woman, it seemed, was the spirit of Ivan's wife, Elena. She had received news of her husband's death on the front lines, and her grief had been so overwhelming that it had transcended time and death itself. Amelia realized that Elena was trapped in a liminal space, unable to move on from her sorrow. Determined to help Elena find peace, Amelia delved deeper into the village's history, seeking answers in forgotten diaries and wartime letters. She uncovered a secret, a love story between Ivan and Elena that had been tragically cut short by the war. Part 4: The Ritual. Amelia discovered an old diary written by Elena, filled with heartfelt letters to Ivan and her fervent prayers for his safe return. She learned that Elena had performed a ritual, a desperate plea to keep Ivan safe during the war. The ritual involved an ancient incantation, passed down through generations, and a sacred amulet that had been in Elena's family for centuries. She had performed the ritual on the night before Ivan's deployment, imbuing the amulet with her love and hopes for his return. Amelia believed that the amulet held the key to freeing Elena from her torment. With the help of a local priest, she recreated the ritual, invoking the same incantation and using the amulet as a conduit to the spirit world. As the ritual reached its climax, a blinding light enveloped the cemetery. The gravestones seemed to come to life, their inscriptions glowing with an otherworldly energy. And then, Elena's spirit appeared before them, her tearful eyes meeting Amelia's once more. Part 5. The Farewell. Amelia, filled with empathy and understanding, spoke to Elena, telling her of the love that had transcended time and death. She assured Elena that Ivan had never forgotten her and that it was time for both of them to find peace. With those words, Elena's spirit began to ascend, her form fading into the moonlit sky. The weeping woman had found her release, her spirit finally free from the torment of the past. In the days that followed, the village of Pogradova began to change. The once oppressive air of sorrow began to lift, and the townspeople's faces brightened with newfound hope. It was as though a weight had been lifted from their hearts, and the village began to heal. Amelia, with her fiery red hair and a heart full of empathy, had brought closure to a long-forgotten tale of love and loss. The cemetery, once a place of sorrow, became a symbol of remembrance and hope. And so, the girl who had been trapped between the gravestones of World War II soldiers had become a beacon of light in the darkness, a reminder that even in the most haunting of circumstances, love and compassion could transcend time and bring peace to restless spirits.